the reason why people like Angel's Envy so much, especially if they're new into bourbon, right?
One, the bottle looks cool.
Yeah, cool bottle. But the biggest thing is that it's a finished bourbon.
It's finished in port barrels.
Correct. So it's finished in port
Notably,
barrels.
sourced whiskey.
Yep.
Coming from God knows who. In
Somebody in Kentucky's making it. Angel's Envy is getting it.
Yeah, they
right?
Louisville spirit groups.
You know, and then they don't. Here's the thing: unless you're doing like single barrels that are very specific, there's no age statement on it, right? So they're probably buying, excuse me, pretty young whiskey. And then what Angels does is then they specialize in finishing, right? So the rye is finished in rum barrels.
Oh.
The bourbon's finished in port barrels.
And for our purposes, port barrels are to port wine. And what's so special about port wine? Port wine is a dessert wine.
Correct. Very sweet.
Very sweet. Very very thick. Usually paired with chocolate.
Correct. That's my favorite.
I know it's your favorite.
That 30-year-old port we got down here with some fucking chocolate, dude, that's so good.
Stop it.
That shit's expensive though. So that's why, Angels. Now, so here's the caveat, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about this. We have the standard bottle. That's how much is left. I probably bought this
10 years ago.
fucking 10 years ago. I don't know. But so we're drinking this, and I just wanted to kind of show the two, right? So the standard Angel's Envy isn't that expensive. I think it's 90 proof?
It's no, even less, 86.6.
86 proof. So that's one of those. So here's a fun fact, right? If you ever go to a party and you want some good whiskey, but you got a lot of people at said party that's not really into whiskey, and if you want them to try it, something like this is great because it's super low proof, right?
Yes.
And it's port finished. So you're going to get a lot of that port's going to come through.
And pretty much all of the harsh cherry notes or other quintessential bourbon notes are
it gets muted. It gets muted because of the finishing. Now that's normal, and you can find that every day. These limited edition ones are not normal. They're not every day, and they're not cheap.
You have to trade part of your soul to get it.
Right. So where the original Angels is at 86 proof, these are at cask strength, and they're going to vary from year to year.
I believe this one is sitting at 118 proof.
Okay, and the other one that's 16 that I have, I don't even know what that is.
High enough.
Because I don't look at them because they're $200, retail. But yeah, this smells awesome.
I haven't smelled it yet.
I understand why people love Angel's Envy.
Well, who in general doesn't like a good port finish? I mean, port finish is really what makes a Midwinter Nights Dram by
High West.
By High West so fantastic. Like it's so jammy, it's so sweet, it's dark.
Yeah, this smells better than when I bought it a couple years ago. Because this is the 2023 release. So this actually smells, it's actually opened up quite a bit.
The aeration did wonders for it.
Man, this shit smells good, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Port. I love port. I drink port every day.
Yeah, I would too if it wasn't so expensive for the good stuff.
Now, bottom shelf port is rather reasonable.
Oh my lord. That holy sweet, and it's almost like I almost got like this weird coating of just sweetness and fruit, and the fruit's great on it. But
good call on the fruit. It's very like plum.
Yeah.
I think plums.
Yeah, like the darker fruits.
Yeah,
like plums and stuff. Yeah. But the proof is great on it. But we're not here to discuss this, 2023 limited release, at $200. But
it is cool if you shank someone and can finagle a bottle. Yeah, do it.
Well, but the nice thing is that going from the entry level to that, I mean, it tracks the same.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to remember, for the standard offering, when it comes out of the barrel, that's cask strength, right? That's barrel proof, cask strength, full proof, whatever. To get it to 86 proof, they've got to water it down. So you're adding water.
I've always wondered, what does it mean to water it down? Like, how do they water it down? Do they just dump water into the product?
Yeah, 100%. So when it comes out of the barrel, so let's say we're gonna make some port finished whiskey.
Yeah.
We've got 200 barrels that we've chosen, right? We're gonna dump those barrels, right? They go into a big holding tank.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's where they sit and they mingle for a while. And then you pull the proof on it. So they've got these machines. It looks like if you were ever a kid, you know, they put like one of those digital thermometers or something in your mouth. It's kind of like that, but cooler.
Yeah, because it can tell you the proof of the alcohol.
It tells you the proof of the alcohol, right? And so we know just from experience that we want it at 86 proof, right? Because it's an entry level offering. So
yeah, you won't scare the normal people who look at like 95 proof and say, ooh, that's
yeah, or 100 or whatever. So then we're going to use water and we're just going to add it to the tank until we get it at the proof that we want. And now that's one of the interesting things about the history in Kentucky is that's why the water's so special there is because it's filtered through limestone.
Yeah.
Right. So it takes a lot of the minerals out that'll turn bourbons and stuff bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So which is where there's a negative stigma with watering down alcohol, even though all the distilleries use it.
Everybody does it, and it just depends. So if you're lucky enough,
quality of water.
if you're lucky enough to be in Kentucky or Tennessee, you know you've got that. That's why they talk about their water. You know, you go to Atlanta or Georgia, you come to Texas. You know, certain parts of Texas there's limestone, right? But for the most part, most distilleries are using, if you don't live in that zone, they're using like, you know, reverse osmosis water. So it's good water. They're not just using fucking tap water from the outside.
They're not using the hose.
They're not using the hose, right?
They're busting out the hose at the distillery.
Not saying you can't.
You can,
but
it's probably going to go bad.
You put some janky ass water into some whiskey, it's probably not going to taste good, right? But that's how they get the proof down.
Mm-hmm. And also benefit. They get a lot more product out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you know it's just like adding if you've got a soda, and you know if you're drinking the soda straight, you only get
so much
12 ounces. But if you pour that soda into a pitcher, and then add another 12 ounces of water to it, still tastes like soda, but now you got double the amount. But it doesn't really taste like
I don't know if you've ever heard
the OG
this.
soda.
It was theorized that, like in ancient Greece or ancient Rome, that there were vats of wine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's theorized or confirmed fact, but as far as I'm concerned, it's theorized that what they did was they would just dump a bunch of water into those vats of wine. So it'd be mostly water that's like vaguely wine flavored.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a big giant vat and why they weren't constantly hammered.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing in Italy, right?
Oh, really?
So in Italy, not that they do that to their wine, but you know, in Italy, like, kids drink, right? But what they're doing is instead of like if you're 10 years old and we're going to have dinner and we're all drinking wine, well, what you're going to get is a little bit of wine in your cup.
And then mostly water.
Mostly water.
That makes sense.
So it's the same idea. That's why when they say, oh, they grow up over there, you know, their whole life they're drinking. Well, yeah, but it's...
But they're not taking rips from...
Correct. They're not getting full strength wine at 10.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting watered down versions. Just like, you know, when you have kids with soda, you pour your soda in a glass, you know, if we want you to have less soda, we'll pour some water in there. You know, as a kid, you don't know any better.
Or you only sneak a little sip of the beer.
Yeah, right. So anyway, Angels is really good. So I'm not good because I've got so much in my head that I want to talk about when it comes to Angels Envy. But I'm going to leave the controversial stuff out and just talk about...
Nah, hit me with the controversial.
So, okay, I'll give you a little bit. So,
this much.
So when your whole company is established around finishing whiskey,
yes.
right? You got to think when you get your port barrels, right? They got to come from overseas, typically, right?
You get them from France.
Okay, so you get your port barrels. You dump your whiskey in said barrels, and you let it sit for however many months or whatever. Then you dump it out and make your product, right?
Right.
So now you've got a port barrel that's now had whiskey in it, but you want that port flavor, right? So there's something they do in the industry called recharging the barrels.
I've never heard of this.
Okay, so let's say, y'all can't see it, but let's say that whiskey barrel that we have over there.
That's the smoke wagon one?
No, that's the IJW one. These are the smoke wagon ones. But let's say that's a port barrel. Okay, and it comes right from France or wherever we get our port barrels from. And it's brand new. So it's going to be super wet inside, right? Because it held port for X amount of years.
And it just got shipped over.
And it just got shipped over. So one of the things with whiskey barrels is even after you dump it, in the wood itself, there's about 1 to 2 gallons of whiskey that's trapped in the
wood.
In the staves, right? So port's no different. So that's what gives something like this all that great, dark, plummy fruit notes is because all the port that's still in the barrel. And then as it ages in Kentucky, the wood grains expand and contract, and the whiskey goes through, and it's pulling out all that port, right?
Right.
Which makes it the color that it is and gives it the flavor. Now, we've already used that, and we just dumped it. So now if we dump more whiskey in there, it's not going to taste like this, right?
No, it's going to taste like
it's
a whiskey port barrel.
Correct. So what they do is after it's dumped, they then recharge the barrels and add, I don't know how many gallons, but they do it with the rum barrels as well, is they recharge them. And so they add port, or in the rye case, they add rum.
Am I to assume that this is a controversial practice?
It's only controversial if you don't dump the shit out before you put whiskey in it. And there have been things that I've read over the years that, especially with the rye, we don't have it here, but
you can find it on the shelves.
But it's everywhere, and people love it because it's so sweet. And some of the things that I've read, they're like, yeah, when we recharge our barrels, a lot of times we forget to dump the rum out of said barrel and we just add rye to it, right? So
which is foul play insofar as it claims to be Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Well, that's why this is the bourbon. So the rye doesn't say straight rye.
It doesn't.
No, it's just Kentucky rye. So that's how they can kind of get away with it and not get in trouble. Because the rules are if it's a straight, then there's going to be no tomfoolery.
Indeed.
No additional additives. So I'm not saying they do that with the bourbon. I'm not saying they do that with the rye. I'm just saying the stuff that I've read. Right? But they have to recharge the barrels because once you use it the first time, it just loses its use after that. And it's not necessarily cost effective to keep shipping over
new port
barrels every, I don't know how long this stuff sits, but
let's call it every couple months.
Let's say it sits for 6 months, right?
6 months, yeah.
Let's just say, or maybe a year, but still, just the constant, turnover of barrels. So it's a smart way to do it, right? Because you're reusing what you already have.
But from a purist perspective,
well, a purist perspective, you wouldn't drink this stuff anyway.
Yeah,
because it's double barreled. Right?
Sure.
And so people go back and forth about, and even in the rules, right? Bourbon, once it's double barreled, technically it's no longer bourbon.
Yes.
But how many double barreled things do we have that say Kentucky straight bourbon?
And to be fair, what's the name of
the TTB?
The TTB. The TTB is constantly.
They got enough on their hands. They're not going to split hairs over that. But yeah, getting back to this. So this one is just super dark, super high proof. The nice thing is like I said, add some water to this. You're drinking the 86 proof, and it tastes. It's the same. It's just these higher proof offerings. Everything's just ratcheted up. Like all the flavors are just more intense.
Now, me personally, which is a redundant phrase, I like it more when rye whiskey is finished in port cask.
Yeah, but this is just so sweet.
It's so sweet. The only time I would buy this is for your example, or like for a party.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said though, I didn't at the time I bought this bottle, I didn't know what finished whiskeys were, finished bourbons were. I just had a super cool bottle shape, and I saw something about port barrels, and I'm like, shit, let's stay at home and try it.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's good, and this isn't that expensive. But when you really start getting into the weeds with whiskeys and bourbons and stuff, when you start finding LEs and stuff, limited editions, said I've got 2 of them.
Yeah, the only criticism you could levy at Angel's Envy is that it doesn't have and it's by intent, but they don't have a mid-range offering. Like there's nowhere in between $30 for this bottle and then $200.
Well, we said the same thing about when we talked about Elijah Craig.
Yeah, Elijah Craig also doesn't have
Same idea. You got your 94 proofer, you got your toasted, and then you're buying barrel proof stuff. Right, so Angels is the same thing. So if you're ever at a store, you probably won't see these because, like I said, these come out once a year. But they're starting to do a lot more store picks now, and they run about $100. But if you're paying $45 for a regular,
sure,
and $100 for a single barrel store pick that is going to typically be a cask strength,
sure,
then
that's fair.
Then it makes sense, especially if you like Angels.
Yeah.
Right. So that's sort of their middle right now, where it's they're doing more store picks. Right. And then when the LEs come out around November, people they either fly off the shelf or I remember we got ours and we had 3 because that's what it comes in 3 in a case, and I put them out in
really 3
yeah, for LE stuff, yeah. So it's 3, and I put 3 out there, and they probably, here's what's crazy, they sat at $200, they sat for probably 2 or 3 weeks. And then one day a guy was looking for a gift, and I talked to him about this, and he bought it, and he liked the way I explained it so much, he bought another one.
So there's 2.
And then there's a girl over here that overheard me. She's like, oh, I'll take one too.
And that's 3.
Gone. $600 like that, but they sat there for weeks, right? But people that know what they're looking for said to me, I'm not buying this every year because I have 2 different bottles at 2 different years,
right?
And although they do taste, there's a variance at $200. I'm like,
don't need to test that.
I'll let it sit, right?
Right.
So, but regular Angels, because we're talking too much about this, regular Angels is just solid. I mean, I would say if you haven't tried it, definitely try it for sure, right?
Although you've probably tried it.
Or you could have.
At least in my circle, Angel's Envy is one of the early options.
Yep.
Especially among those who don't think that any whiskey under like $40 is worth a damn.
Well, and like we talked about, it's a good first step.
Yeah, it's nice
into the whiskey world. I mean, I can see 86 proof. You pour it over some ice and give it to people that don't like whiskey.
Kind of reminds me of the Knob Creek Maple, but a overall superior product.
Yeah, well, the Knob, yeah,
everyone does backflips over the Knob Creek Maple.
Well, it's because it tastes like it's fat kid whiskey. It tastes like breakfast, It's super good. But this is obviously it's really good as well. Excuse me. Like I said, you even if you haven't had port, when you drink this, you'll understand. It's like, those dark plums and those types of fruits.
And if you haven't had port, get some port.
Yeah, I'd definitely find some and do it with chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate, not milk chocolate.